Hey, what's going on guys? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking ahead at game week 35 as we start to draw towards this end of the season. Now game week's coming thick and fast, so we're going to look at our transfer targets for this coming week and also players who are going to be instrumental for us for the upcoming doubles and to see out our season to try and give us the best possible finish. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, welcome back guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and coming back to another one of my videos. As you guys can see on screen, we're going to just pick up from where we left off in game week 34. So at the time of me recording, it's currently Thursday afternoon. So I'm recording this video before Manchester City have played Brighton. I tried to leave it as long as I could just to try and get as many of the games done so we could kind of look at how the team finished up. And obviously this week has been a very, very good week on my free hit. You can see on screen 135 points. I think it's one of my all-time highest game week scores. I think I've only had maybe one or two above this. And despite a captaincy blank, which from 2 games, Mo Salah only coming back with 3 points. I know a lot of us are going to be feeling that one. But we've had a very good week. You know, we were talking about differentials last week. Eze and Elise, obviously both coming back with hauls. Mateta just doing insane stuff. You know, 4 goals over the 2 games. Got an assist in the first one as well. He was out of this world, and he's been so great. You know, Ben Brereton Diaz got his goal yesterday despite Sheffield losing. So all in all, very, very happy with how this game week's finished. Like I said, I am recording this before Manchester City, so we're not sure what the result is on that. And we do know that Haaland has been ruled out of that game. So yeah, I think for this coming week now, as we draw to end of 34, it's been a successful week on the most part. If you've played your chip, I'm sure you've had some success. I think a lot of people are going towards the Crystal Palaces of the world. But yeah, like I said at the start of the video, now we're looking ahead to game week 35 and for the rest of the season as well. So let's just get straight into this. Okay, so let's just start off with defenders then. So obviously this week we're going to be looking at our transfer targets for the upcoming game week 35, but also these players that I've given to you today are going to be for game weeks 35 and onwards. So obviously, Chelsea obviously doubled this week with Tottenham, but then we obviously have the big double in game week 37, which I think a lot of us are going to be looking towards to use our bench boost. So that's what these transfer targets and these players are mainly going to be for. So as you guys can see on the screen, number 1, I've gone for Fabian Schär from Newcastle. Now, Newcastle obviously had a disappointing result against Crystal Palace yesterday evening, which was Wednesday. They obviously lost 1-0. They did get outplayed, I must say. The stats, the possession, everything was kind of like favouring Crystal Palace. And Newcastle didn't have a good game. However, Newcastle this coming week are back at home at St James's Park, where Isak, Gordon, Fabian Schär, we're talking about, you'd expect them to get a bounce back against the Sheffield United team, who they had chances against Man United, but didn't look that great. Newcastle obviously just a better team when they do play at home, and we're going to get on to the midfielders and the forwards later. But I think Fabian Schär for me is just the best Newcastle defender. You know, he's a threat from set pieces, which Newcastle do utilise quite well. As Trippier is still not 100% back yet, I think there's an argument you can make to go for Trippier, but I think for me, for the surety of minutes, I think Fabian Schär is going to play every minute that he's fit and available for. As I said, he's a threat from set pieces, but also his price isn't that bad either. So for me, I've got him down as the number 1 transfer target to bring in this week for defenders. Obviously, has a double in game week 37, which adds to the value of him, as well as having just good game week singles all around from now to the end of the season. So yeah, Fabian Schär coming in at number 1. Number 2, I've gone for Pedro Porro. Now, this was a toss-up between 2 and 3, between Porro and Gusto. The reason why I've gone for Porro is solely because Udogie is out injured for Tottenham, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season, which means Porro is going to be their main attacking outlet for a fullback. Now, there was a point in the start of the season where Porro was playing by himself. Udogie was out injured, and everything was going through him, crossing, passes, shots, everything was going down his side. Now, obviously, the Spurs do have a double this week. It's not a great double, but it's a double nonetheless. 2 fixtures are always going to be better than 1. At least giving you the opportunity to get returns. Now, I don't expect clean sheets from Tottenham. I have to make that one clear. I don't expect them to keep clean sheets. I think what you're looking for with Pedro Porro is the attacking side of things and the attacking returns. Now, Spurs haven't been great over the last few weeks. I haven't really been impressed that much. However, I do think owning him for this week, but also for the double in 37, I think it will be beneficial in the long run. And I do think that he is someone who a lot of people will probably naturally gravitate towards now that Udogie's out injured. I don't think a lot of people will be looking at Romero. I mean, Romero with an outside chance. Obviously, he does have set piece threat. Van der Ven, not as much. I think Porro is the standout defender. Obviously, has a double this week, has another double in 37. So yeah, he's coming in at number 2. And we've gone for Malo Gusto at number 3. Now, he didn't actually play against Arsenal. He was out injured. So my only advice to that is just bear on the side of caution and just wait and see what happens. I'd say try and leave your transfers as late as you can. I mean, most people will probably be wildcarding this week anyway. So there's no rush to make your transfers. wait and see what Poch says before the weekend. If not Gusto, then I would say just go to another Chelsea defender. Me personally, if Gusto is out injured, I'll be going to Cucurella. I don't think Ben Chilwell is fit yet again, so Cucurella will probably be having that left back spot starting. So I'd probably end up going to him because I think the centre backs have options to rotate. But Gusto, the same as Porro. Like I said, you're not really expecting clean sheets from Chelsea as such. If they get one, fantastic. But I think the main thing you're buying him for is A, the price, because he's very cheap. He's 4.3 million. But B, his attacking output, which, for fullbacks in FPL, that's what we're looking for. So as you guys can see on screen, 1, 2, and 3, those are my top 3 defenders. Let's get into the midfielders. Okay, so on to the midfielders. Now, I don't think there's going to be any surprise with this pick here, and it is Cole Palmer in at number 1. Obviously, he was ruled out of the Arsenal game with illness, and you could just see that Chelsea didn't really have anything going forward. He really is everything to the way they attack, and he's so crucial to how they play. I just think as soon as I think he should be back for the weekend. I think a lot of people already do have him. If you haven't got Cole Palmer, go and get him because, like I said, he's got the most fixtures from now to the end of the season. He is Chelsea's best player. He's on penalties. Everything goes through him. I think you'll find a lot of people probably going to captain him this week because he obviously has the double. And I just think for the price you're paying for him, even now, like if you got him before, I think he's currently ranked at 6 million now. I think if you got him before that, you've done extremely well because you've created some great value in him. But if you still haven't bought him and you're still in your wild card in now, just bring him in. Bring him in and keep him in there because he's a set and forget from now to the end of the season. So Cole Palmer is my number 1 priority for midfielders. So number 2 is I've gone for Anthony Gordon. Now, like I said, Newcastle were disappointed against Crystal Palace, but Anthony Gordon at home versus away are like 2 different players, and they are obviously playing Sheffield United at home this week, which I'm expecting big things from Newcastle, like genuinely 3-4-0. That's what I'm expecting them to come away with. I think Gordon should be instrumental in how they play. Now, obviously, he again does have a double in 37, which is kind of why I've got him on here, as well as him being a very affordable player, coming in at about 6.1 as well. So he's not far away from Palmer. I think the relationship he's built up with Alexander Isak over the course of the last maybe month, 2 months, has been wonderful for the way Newcastle are playing. Obviously, Crystal Palace game, Palace are in a good run of form. They're not a dud team. That game could have always gone the way it did. But I expect Newcastle to bounce back at home to Sheffield United. And I just think if you haven't got Gordon again, if you are wildcarding, bring him in. He's got great fixtures around from now to the end of the season, and obviously does have a double in 37 too. Finally, last but not least, we've gone for Phil Foden. Now, this one was a tricky one because I am rating De Bruyne very highly at the moment as a Salah replacement. But I have gone for Phil Foden. I think, again, if you don't have him, like myself, I don't actually own Phil Foden. He is someone that I will be bringing in this week. Now, City have got, obviously, they played tonight against Brighton, so we'll see how they get on. I know there was an issue with Phil Foden that I think he probably will start. We'll see how fit he is. We'll see how long he plays. But I think for me, the way City are playing right now, it's just everything goes through him. He is there. Especially if Haaland's out. If Haaland's out injured, like it's supposed to be, then I think Foden becomes that much more beneficial because everything will end up going through either him or De Bruyne. But I have picked him over De Bruyne, 1, because of the price, but 2, because I think he's just got more of a bit of I think he's just got a bit more explosive nature this season. In seasons gone by, you'd probably back De Bruyne, but I think this season, Foden has been Man City's best player. Has a double in game week 37. City have got the best run in. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I'm hoping that they do slip up, but I don't think they'll slip up by losing the game. I think they'll probably end up drawing, but that will mean they will still score, in my opinion. I don't think they'll end up drawing a 0-0. I think the attack is just too good, and with the way Foden's playing at the moment this season, he's just been fantastic. So for me, Phil Foden getting in there at number 3. Maybe you can put him higher instead of Anthony Gordon at number 2, but I think 3 is a fair outcome for him. So yeah, that's our top 3 midfielders. Let's get straight into the strikers now. Okay, so strikers. Alexander Isak, let's start with him. He is my number 1 pick if you're looking for a striker this week. I have used my free transfer already. I've got rid of Ivan Toney for Alexander Isak. He has Sheffield United at home. Same thing as Anthony Gordon and Fabian Schär. They've got amazing fixtures outside of this game week and they're double in 37. And Isak's just the most informed striker in the league at the moment. He's just returning each and every week. Now, I know he blanked against Crystal Palace, but to be honest with you, he didn't really have much service in that game. He's on penalties. And as I said, the same with Anthony Gordon. When Newcastle go and play at home, they're a completely different side. So for me, Alexander Isak, fairly priced as well. He's currently about 8 million. So he's not even that expensive. I think a lot of people will have the budget to get to him, especially with their wild card. I just think you can't go wrong. I think plus a lot of people are wildcarding this week, so I think what you'll find is a lot of people are going to bring him in. Now, if he returns and you don't own him, your rank will plummet. So I think for me, if any reasons other than fixtures, get him in just to compete with everyone else because Isak is in red hot form at the moment, and I think for me, he's just the best striker in the league currently. Now, number 2, I've got Erling Haaland on this list. I have put a question mark because he is flagged. for me personally, with City's running, he will be someone that I want in my team. I've got him in my team. I think a lot of us will do, but he's someone that I would want. Now, if he is ruled out, so he's ruled out the Brighton game tonight. If he then gets ruled out on the game on the weekend, I think there's a question to be asked: how fit is he? Is he going to play? If we find out that Haaland ends up missing 2 to 3 weeks of football, then there's a viable option to get rid of him and maybe bring in Alvarez as a like for like replacement. I think if Haaland's out for Brighton, I probably don't expect him to play against Forest the weekend. But after that, I do expect him to be back. And I do expect him to play every single game to the end of the season. If for whatever reason we find out that that's not the case and he's not going to be back, then I think for me, I'll just make that change from Haaland to Alvarez. It's annoying because it's a -4, which doesn't need to be a -4 really. But like I said, if he's fit, he is the best choice. If he's not, then I think it's just a lot of money to be holding on to. So I would probably try and steer clear of that. And finally, our number third striker spot, I've gone a little bit different here. The reason for that is I just feel that there could be something here with him. And I've gone for Rasmus Højlund. Now, Man United, they seem to not play well, but they seem to still get results. Now, he did obviously score against Sheffield United. Bruno was obviously the standout man for that 2 goals and assists. But Højlund, I think if Højlund gets the service, I think there's definitely goals there for him. Now, as I said, in 37, when the big double comes around, a lot of us will probably be looking to bench boost, which means that we're going to have a free spot for striker opened up on there. Now, I think for me personally, I would want Højlund in there. Most games you're going to see him play 90 minutes because of Man United's injury crisis. Like, they've got so many players out. Casemiro is playing centre back. The bench just were filled with under 21 players. So I think he will probably end up playing through the games. Now, for me, he offers a lot to Man United if he gets the service, which obviously does come down to the midfield behind him. But it's a risk that I'm willing to take. His percentage ownership is quite low. So if he does return, and as you can see this week from my team that I showed you at the start of the video, when you do have players who have low ownership, you can skyrocket. My team this week, I've moved from 2.8 million up to 1.7. So I've jumped over 1 million places in the space of a game week. That's because of the likes of Mateta, who are low owned. Elise is low owned. Eze is fairly low owned. Ben Brereton Diaz is very low owned. So all these players who've got low differentials at this point in the season, now's the time. If you're trying to chase a mini league or you're trying to catch someone, you have to do something different because you can't pick the same players as everyone else. Otherwise, you won't make gains. So yeah, for me, Rasmus Højlund, I put him in at number 3 behind Haaland and Isak. I think he's a great differential, very good price. And yeah, I think he could offer something towards the back end of the season. Right, so differentials of the week. Now these next couple of weeks for differentials of the week is going to be massive because, like I said in that previous section, now is the time if you are chasing mini leagues or you're trying to climb your rank. Now is the time that you have to start looking different. So I'm hoping that these picks will actually help you guys achieve that. So we come off the back of a very successful week. Cunha, unfortunately, last week didn't play for us, which we'll never know whether he would have returned or not. He was the third one. He was third on the list, so he was last place, but he didn't play. The other two, however, Eze and Elise, both come back with hauls, which was it was uplifting after the previous 2 weeks where, we didn't get any returns. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this week for differentials, we will follow the same trend and have people returning. So you guys can see on screen, the first one I've gone for is Leon Bailey from Aston Villa. Now, Bailey's minutes is always a risk with when he plays for Aston Villa, but I think his explosivity and the potential he's got to get double-digit hauls, he's just come off the back of one, a 13-pointer, a goal and an assist for him. And I think he's always got that in his locker despite who he's playing. Now, Villa will be playing, I think it's Bournemouth is their next fixture, which Bournemouth just come off the back of a 1-0 clean sheet against Wolves. But I do expect Bailey to start this game, and I do expect Aston Villa to score in it. So for me personally, he's so low owned. He's very good on price, 5.5 million, I think, as I said, this time of the season, now is the time you want to be looking at these sort of players. So I've gone for Leon Bailey as my number 1 pick. I do expect him to start, and I do expect him to return as well. So number 2, we've gone for Hwang Hee-chan, who's just come back for Wolves. Had an okay game against Bournemouth. Maybe a little bit unlucky not to get anything out of it, but, them things happen. He's 5.4 million, 2.2% owned. Wolves are playing Luton Town at home this coming week. So I think this is a big opportunity for him, especially if Cunha is not back. We'll probably most likely see him play either up front or on the left-hand side, but he'll probably end up playing the 90 minutes. So it just gives you 90 minutes against the Luton side, which don't keep clean sheets, have got a lot of injuries towards their back line. And I just think that there's ground to be made here if you're looking for that sort of differential. And Hwang's a midfielder on the game, so an extra point if he's playing up front will get you for every goal he scores. So for me, it just makes sense. So low owned, very cheap, and yeah, just a great all-round pick with a great fixture. Now, the last player I've gone with is someone which may be somewhat controversial, and please bear in the mind of caution. So it is Cody Gakpo. Now, he was supposed to start in Liverpool's game against Everton, but I think his wife had their child, so obviously Luis Diaz had to come back in. He didn't get a chance to play. I am expecting Gakpo to be starting this weekend. I think he has been the most informed player for Liverpool over the last few weeks. Obviously, Diogo Jota is out injured, so he's not going to be available, which obviously is one less headache to worry about. Darwin's finishing has been so poor, as has Salah and Diaz, to be fair. I think Gakpo has to be playing at the number 9 spot. He looks like he's always going to offer you something when he's playing at the moment for Liverpool, and I think Klopp has to get him in there. Now, with him, he's still low owned, a little bit more expensive than what our differentials are usually. He's coming in at 7.1 million. It is a gamble, as are all these differentials. Like, there's never a guarantee for them, but I do like it. I know it sounds crazy because Liverpool are probably just, with that loss to Everton, that's probably them out of the title race now. There's probably not much for them to play for, but still, I do like Gakpo, and I do think that if he starts, I can see returns. You know, West Ham aren't defending great at the moment. They are shipping goals. You know, there's a lot of talk about David Moyes. Will he stay? Will he not? I just think Gakpo, if he does get the start and he is ready to go, I think that he could return some nice points this week as a differential. So yeah, if you are looking to just take the ultimate gamble, that's why the only reason why I didn't put him number 1 is just because I genuinely couldn't guarantee you minutes. But in terms of if he's playing, I definitely expect him to create chances and maybe get a goal here or there as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I will try and get it out tomorrow night or Saturday morning. I'll try and get both of them recorded tomorrow so I can get them uploaded. But yeah, like I said, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please drop it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I'll catch you next time.